Bassett Theatre from the Canadian International Auto Show. It's the 2024 Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame Induction Gala, presented by Clubine Motorsports, Martella Motorsports, and MW Generational Wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host for this evening, Todd Lewis.
Yay! Thank you, thank you. Appreciate the introduction from Eric Thomas. He has been the voice of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame for many years, enjoying retired life in the Niagara Peninsula. We appreciate Eric's support for the voiceover work that he does. He is a true Hall of Famer. We want to say big thank yous as well to video editor Dave Oliver, who did that piece you just saw, and the others that you'll see tonight. Dave Bradley for some voiceover work. Big thanks from me as well to producer of tonight's program, Joel Robinson. I also want to do a quick shout out to our Motorsport Hall of Fame teammate, Robin Virtue. He's been under the weather for a while. He does so much for this event. Each year, he's been on the sidelines this year. Robin, we love you, we miss you. We want you back with us as soon as possible. Keep fighting and come back here. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you to the Canadian International Auto Show again this year. We appreciate our presenting sponsors for tonight's ceremony as well. Quick reminders. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you silence the phones. I love Shabuzi. We all love Shabuzi. We don't need to hear it as your ringtone. Welcome to those of you, that are joining us on the live stream on the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame YouTube channel. In the coming weeks, there will be even more new content on the Motorsport Hall of Fame YouTube channel. Lots of races from honored members in the Hall of Fame participating, showing off their talents and skills. If it's your first time, welcome. If you're returning, we appreciate your continued support. We encourage everyone to spend some time catching up with friends. The bar reopens after the ceremony. No doubt you have been eyeing up some of those incredible silent auction items. Michael Taylor and his group have done a great job again this year. Formula One tickets, IMSA weekend tickets at CTMP, tickets to the Ontario Honda Dealers, Indy Toronto, John Force memorabilia, and so much more. Proceeds from the silent auction go to the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. We appreciate generous bidding, and a reminder, there are no tariffs on those bids. The new super fun thing that probably got your attention, the selfie station outside when you came into the theater. You can just pop over, quick selfie, use the hashtags, super fun. And we get started now on our program. Whether it's local tracks, Fridays or Saturday nights, the highest levels of motorsports competition, Canadians made a significant impact in motorsports again in 2024. IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, Formula One, all other elite levels of motorsports as well. Summit drag racing. Some highlights to mention. There are many. I want to touch on a couple. Sports Car Championship Canada. After competing for several seasons, Connor Attrell went sports car racing in the U.S., won a TC America race at Indianapolis. Following his NASCAR Canada Championship, Trayton Lapsevich went to the ZMAX Car Tour and impressed everyone, running up front consistently and winning races. Our Rising Star Award winner this year, Kyle Steckley, did double duty last year, running ASA, capturing a title, and also APC title and ASA Rookie of the Year. Last year's Rising Star, Patrick Woodstoff, scored another championship, this one in FR Americas. Our events on Canadian soil continue to flourish with big crowds at F1 and in Indy and Trois Rivières and others. We appreciate your support. Yes, there are challenges too. Part of the Hall's work is to highlight the history of Canadian motorsports and their accomplishments, but also to help inspire new fans and participants. We want more women finding their way into racing. We need to do more to show a welcoming and supportive environment for all who show an interest in motorsports and help bring them into the sport that we love. The Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame appreciates the continued support again this year of the Canadian International Auto Show. We've seen nice crowds in the early going. We're pleased to be part of this annual event. Congratulations to General Manager Jason Campbell and his staff for the wonderful job they do. And thank you, Jason, for your support of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame and having us here at the John Bassett Theatre again this evening. Please welcome Jason Campbell to come up and say a few quick words. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Todd, and thanks everybody again for joining us here. And Todd, thanks again for the marvelous job you did. We had our opening media day after the big snowfall on Wednesday night, and we attracted a really good audience. I think everyone was very pleased. Pleased with the look of the show, pleased with so much that there is to offer. We've had a great return to the show of many new brands. We've had 5 new brands come and rejoin the show this year. And I think it's very much in large part because of the complete offering that we are able to showcase here. I'm really happy and thank John Waldy for the work he's done in putting together a great exhibit on the 700 level with drag racing. And we've never had a drag racing exhibit at the show here before, so I'm really pleased to be able to showcase that. But it's those kinds of unique opportunities that we try and showcase here that really sets this show apart. We, in fact, had the show organizers for the New York Auto Show, both the CEO, the marketing director, and the operations director here for Media Day, because they saw what is coming. They saw the motorsport contingent, they saw the Lego, they saw the Hot Wheels, they saw all of the car manufacturers returning here. And that's something I think we can be really proud of, because they want to emulate that in New York. And I think that's something that all of these pieces are like building blocks, like that giant Lego car you'll see on the 700 when you go see the racing cars, because it takes all those little pieces to pull this together, attracting what we hope to be another record attendance at the show this year. We're even attracting the likes of the Mayor Olivia Chow, who was just here today. If you can believe it, bicycle-loving Olivia Chow came for what was supposed to be a 20-minute visit, turned out to be a 2-hour visit. We showcased all of the Canadian content that you can find on the floor. I think she was very impressed. I know she was impressed. And we even had her sitting in a $5 million Bugatti, if you can believe it. So I think the dragster was just a little step too far for her, but no, we really are looking forward to a great show, and we want to thank you very much for our continued collaboration. Peter, we appreciate your work that you do for us. I know you've been putting a lot into this project. And Dr. Scully, I know we kicked it off together, and thank you wherever you are for our participation together over the years. And again, have a wonderful night. You guys are the stars of the show. Just want to say thanks and good luck to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. We appreciate your support and very much being here. Jason acknowledged him off to the side. Please welcome the chair of the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, Peter Lockhart, who has some greetings and messages.
It's tough to be up here standing beside a professional, but I'll cobble my way through it. Welcome to the 32nd Induction Gala ceremony. 32 years, wow. We missed COVID, so it should be 33. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I'm pleased to extend a warm welcome to everyone attending tonight's induction ceremonies and those watching on our live stream channel on the YouTube. It's an honor to pay tribute and to celebrate the individuals who have made significant contributions to Canadian motorsport throughout the many decades that our sport has existed. After tonight's induction ceremony, we will have welcomed 303 honorable members in the form of individuals, teams, and organizations. Tonight we celebrate 13 new members, the class of 24. 12 represent competitors, builders, race support participants, and 1 distinguished himself in the media category. We believe that motorsport is made up of all sorts of contributions, not just the drivers, and not just drivers simply. They are surrounded by teams, and it's the teams and the tracks and the press and everyone else that makes it all happen, and we celebrate them all. Congratulations to all new members, as well as their families and team members who supported them through their careers and afterwards. In addition to the class of 24, the board has selected John Force as our 2024 international inductee, and more about John's ties to Canadian motorsport later. Our 2024 JMF Motorsports Rising Star recipient is outstanding young stock car racer Kyle Steckley, and he is outstanding. I'd like to thank the entire volunteer board of the Hall of Fame for their efforts and support in making this event possible. And I would like now to invite our current board members in attendance to stand when I call your name. Our Vice Chair, Greg McPherson. Give him a warm round of applause. Our treasurer, Bruce Thompson, not sure if Bruce is here, hope he is. Our director of communications, Nicole Lassalle. Our directors, Jeff Atkinson, Michael Taylor, your MC tonight, Todd Lewis, producer of the show, Joel Robinson, who's probably in the back there, Class of 24 inductee, Denis Cadotte, Derek Lynch, Lawrence Himmel, and Lindsay Riddell. We have one honorary board member in attendance, John McGill. And of course, our Chair Emeritus, Dr. Hugh Scully. Scott Samuel and, as mentioned, General Manager Robin Virtue are unable to attend this evening. I believe we may have some inducted members in the audience. I know that John Waldy is, for sure. I can't see you out there, but if we do have inducted members, would you please stand? There we go, John Waldy. Last year, as we unfortunately do, this last year we lost some inducted members. Now, it gives me great pleasure to thank our trio of Gala presenting sponsors, Clubine Motorsports, Martella Motorsports, MW Generational Wealth, and our Rising Star Award sponsor, John Farrell from JMF Motorsports. We will hear from these sponsors later in the program. As well, a great thanks to Wellesley at Pots and Plants for our fabulous flowers on stage, and to all others who supported the gala by buying ads in our program, and all those who have and will support the silent auction. There's some great stuff there. Lastly, a huge thanks to Jason Campbell, Tina Holmes, and the great staff at the Canadian International Auto Show, who provide us with the use of this John Bassett Theatre and many other benefits of association. To our guests present today, thank you all for being a part of this special event celebrating Canadian motorsport and those who have distinguished themselves in so many ways. I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you, Peter. I get to tell you about, well, you want to talk about social media too, don't you?
One little blurb. The Hall continues to grow our social media reach, and currently we have 244 videos on our YouTube channel and more coming. I think we just digitized another 80. And the views are totaling 210,000 views, which is great. We have Bryce Turner, who's here, activating on all of our platforms, and our CMHF store is live on our website, and we have merch available for purchase today in the lobby for the first time at a gala. So Enjoy, have a look, and over to you, Todd.
Thank you very much, Peter. We appreciate it. There is another new endeavor coming from the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. It's an upcoming television project called From the Vault. It will be an ongoing series of programs that look back over the years at races that our members have participated in and showed their talents as to why they were nominated and voted into the Hall of Fame. Some of them are a few years old. Yeah, like that one. There's been a lot of work done digitizing those tapes as well. Remember videotapes? We're producing segments that will surround those races and further highlight the accomplishments of honored members. You'll be able to see these shows beginning the week of April 1st on Rev TV. Initially, we have 26 episodes for season number 1, and we're already working on another 26 episodes for season number 2. So, as you can tell, there are an awful lot of great Canadian racing stories and great Canadian accomplishments that we want fans to enjoy. So we're looking forward to that starting the week of April 1st. Let's welcome our next speaker to the podium. It's Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame board member Lindsay Riddell, who has taken over the lead for the Celebration of Speed, the annual fundraiser for the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Please welcome Lindsay for some comments.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So I've been on the board. Peter invited me onto the board a few years ago. I showed interest in the Celebration of Speed event that takes place now since 2015, and it's an event that's run at CTMP. There's a cool video. Looked like me. So Peter invited me to take part in 2022, and I came onto the board and got involved last year because we ran the event as well for the first time in Quebec. Now, the event consists, for those of you that don't know, it's an event that consists of a called Ride Along, where the public buys tickets and they have the opportunity to ride in 25 or 30 either exotic, race-type cars, street cars of all kinds, Porsches, McLarens, Lamborghinis. So the public can buy tickets. It entitles them to 4 rides. Everybody has an awesome time. And in the era of Netflix, when people are becoming more engaged in motorsport through Drive to Survive, to come out and have the opportunity to feel what the dynamics are when you're on the racetrack in a car is quite something. And people come away from the experience with a very wide smile. CTMP, we also run a track day. So for advanced lappers, they come out with their own cars. And they can take part in the lapping day. And as well, the ride-along takes place, so the sessions go back and forth between the two programs. And in Quebec this year in 2024, we co-opted with a Honda Fest event, and we ran just the ride-along program. And it was a first-time effort. As everything that we endeavor to do, it raises funds for the hall. And the Quebec event this year did fairly well for the first time out. This year at CTMP, the event is taking place holiday weekend. It's the civic holiday, and it's on the holiday Monday, August the 4th. And the event in Quebec, we're still ironing out some date details, so more to come on that one. But we're pleased, and I'm pleased to be running it, and it's a great time is had by all. So if you haven't attended, please try to come out this year and take part in either the Quebec or the CTMP event here in Ontario.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's great. August the 4th for the CTMP event. Date TBD for Quebec. Go to the website for a little more information there. Each year, the Motorsport Hall of Fame receives nominations for consideration in the next year's class. The nomination procedure has been streamlined to make it easier for everyone wishing to make a nomination. To report on this year's class into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame is the chair of the Nominating and Selection Committee, Greg McPherson.
Thanks, Todd. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us as we celebrate and welcome the new inductees. If you're wondering how someone becomes an inductee, it's entirely dependent upon the public. Family members, fans, teammates, anyone, to nominate an individual or organization for consideration. Throughout the year, but especially when the new class of members is announced, we hear people say, "Do you know who should be in there?" Or, "I can't understand why so-and-so isn't in there." So if you ever uttered or thought those words, the ball is in your court. It takes a bit of time and research, but everyone entering the hall today had someone do this on their behalf. Without the nominations, we literally would not be here tonight. So thank you to everyone who nominated somebody and made this evening possible. On behalf of the board, we'd like to thank Chair Emeritus Dr. Hugh Scully for his many efforts and contributions related to nominations and selections, as well as to the Hall in general. And now Todd will share with you some more details about the nomination and selection process. Thank you and enjoy your night.
Thanks, Greg. As Greg said, it's up to you. Anyone can nominate. Just go to the website is the easiest place to start. Nominations are open all year. There is a cutoff submission date for the current year. It's the last day of July. Any nominations that are received after that will go into consideration for the following year. As mentioned, the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame website, the place to start. Nominations option, select. There's a drop-down menu. You find everything that you need to know, sample nomination forms, info on how to submit photos, other supporting documents, the scoring matrices, and how to help support your nominee for the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. The scores are ranked high to low, the nominations then forwarded to the board, and once confirmed by the board, Peter gets to make the great phone call to each new member and let them know that they have been elected to the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. We want to note as well that directors of the Motorsport Hall of Fame and the Independent Selection Committee are not allowed to nominate or support any nomination. We're trying to make the process as smooth and transparent as possible. You've got 5.5 months left to get your submission in for someone that you think is worthy for a ceremony much like this one next February. Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame would not be able to provide recognition to those that are worthy without the support of our sponsors, and also feel that recognition of greatness in motorsports is important. Please welcome our presenting sponsors, Bill Klubine of Klubine Motorsports, Tony Martella of Martella Motorsports, I know is not here, I have some comments from him, and Richard Morris of MW Generational Wealth. I'm not sure if he's here as well. If those gentlemen would come join us for some quick comments. Looks like it's you and me, Peter.
I saw you somewhere, Bill. Where are you? A little shy. Okay. Okay.
Here we go. Okay. One's better than none. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me tonight. I'm relatively new to motorsports at this point. I've enjoyed track cars, I've enjoyed watching racing. This is sort of my first involvement in actually sponsoring something. I love racing, I'm just not very good at it. I did take part in last year's Celebration of Speed, which was an absolute fun experience to take part in. I gave some drives to some nice people and met a lot of interesting people along the way there. I look forward to kind of meeting people here afterwards, and I just want to say thank you.
Do you want to speak for Mr. Klubine, and I'll speak for Mr. Martella?
Well, go ahead with the Martella statement.
Sure. Some notes from Mr. Martella. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Martella Motorsports, we're honored to be supporting the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. I'm sorry I'm not able to be there this evening. I'd like to congratulate all the new inductees into the Hall of Fame. I'd also like to congratulate the Rising Star for 2024. I wish you all the success in 2025. We're thrilled to announce that in 2025, Martella Motorsports will be supporting our driver, my son, Anthony Martella, in the USF 2000 Series with Jay Howard Driver Development in the quest to get to IndyCar. Our first race is in St. Petersburg, March 1st and 2nd. Stay tuned for updates on our 2025 season. 2024 was an amazing year for Martella Motorsports, running in the FEL Series, something I will never forget. We're in talks and discussions with our partners and different drivers to put a program together to return to FEL in 2025. Stay tuned. Thank you, Tony Martella.
That's great. Bill Klubine is a very staunch supporter of the Hall of Fame. He's proud of it. I hear him tell people about it. And Bill, behind the scenes, helped get us Martella and Richard Morris. And he's an important element of our program. So thank you, Klubine Motorsports.
All right, let's begin to honor our Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame inductees. Members are recognized as builders, competitors, significant contributors, and media members. Many of tonight's honorees are recognized in multiple categories for their accomplishments, positive influence, and support of Canadian motorsports. Members involved in sports cars, stock cars, open wheel racing, drag racing, motorcycles, media, and other facets. 13 new inductees for 2024, plus an international inductee, many of who will join us. That's just the appetizer. Our first new member is a terrific open wheel racer and is still sharing his knowledge with today's racers.
Jumping in a car, man, when you get in that office and you're alone and you're racing against the track and the time, there's nothing like that.
Richmond Hill, Ontario's Lee Bentham's racing career began in karting between 1981 and 1992, where he won 19 championships across several series, racking up 224 wins and 310 podiums while competing in 5 karting world championships in Europe.
Lee Bentham just went high and around the whole back and came off of turn number 2 and he won the move.
He won the 1994 Canadian Valvoline Touring Car Championship before moving to Formula Atlantic the following season.
And look at this, Bentham is challenging. He's got him.
He recorded 8 podiums en route to a runner-up finish in Formula Atlantic in 1996 before joining the Players Forsyth Racing Team and finishing 5th in Indy Lights in 1997. Bentham won the Formula Atlantic Championship with Forsyth Racing in 1998 on the strength of 2 wins and 5 podiums. He recorded a race win in 1999 where he finished 6th in the Formula Atlantic Championship.
It is going to be Lee Bentham.
Following his driving career, Bentham went on to become a renowned driver coach. He returned to Forsyth Racing's Formula Atlantic program where he coached Canadian Hall of Famer James Hinchcliffe in 2006. The following year, he coached Canadian Robert Wickens with the same team and series. He was a driver coach with Pacific Coast Motorsports at the Champ Car IndyCar level in 2008 before holding that same role with AIM Autosport in 2009. Bentham was the driver coach for Canadian Zach Clayman DeMello from 2010 to 12 before taking on a slightly different role at the IndyCar level. He served as the head of driver development for Ed Carpenter Racing since 2012, helping a long line of drivers, including IndyCar champion Joseph Newgarden, Ed Carpenter, Renus VK, and Mike Conway. Please welcome to the 2024 competitor category, Lee Bentham.
Joining Lee on stage to present his medal that he'll get from Peter Lockhart is his son, Will.
Oh man, they dug everything up there. I feel like I should have changed my name to Zimmerman, so I went last. Okay. To get things started, I wish to thank the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, Chairman Peter Lockhart, and the entire board for this incredible honor. It's pretty cool. Thanks to my family for coming out to support tonight. My son Will is here as my presenter. My wife Sarah, her parents Bill and Val Barrett are here. My sister Karen is here as well, who is ironically the one who taught me to drive a manual transmission when I was 15. That came in very handy, so thanks, sis. My first race ever was in 1980 at Family Kartways in Whitby. At 10 years of age, I took my first green flag, and I put my head down and I started driving. And I've been driving forward ever since that day. This past October, we were testing in Palm Springs, California with the IndyCar team, and Peter called to let me know about the induction. See, the jokes are working. They're working. Because of this call, and really for the first time in 44 years, I picked my head up and I looked back at this road that I've been on and just how far this sport has taken me. I realized that not only am I part of a great racing community, but it takes this community to help you learn and grow and navigate this road. I've had many experiences along the way, whether a pat on the back, some words of advice, banging wheels with fellow Canadians and friends Andrew Bourdin, Kenny Wilden, Rick By, and even our own Peter Lockhart. The point is, we're all in this community together. And I learned something from each one of those moments in time, and I carried them forward with me in my career. So in a sense, this community has contributed to weaving the tapestry of my life and has helped shape the person you see before you tonight. So I thank you all for that. Gives me time to change the page. As racers, our careers always come in steps, and there are a few major ones that I need to mention. I want to thank Linda and Enzo Chiaviti of 3S Go-Karts in Sutton for their hospitality, friendship, and support in my karting career over many, many years. Because of that long-term relationship with them, Burrell Karts, Vega Tires, I just simply wouldn't have made it as far as I did. My dad got me started in karting, but they really took it to the next level and allowed me to do what I was able to do. So thank you for that. Love you guys. I need to thank Dave Godby of TMI Racing for giving me the chance to move from karts to the big boy cars, and NTM Bearings as well for allowing me to race in those series, Canadian Touring Car Championship, Michelin Endurance Series, and also helping create the opportunities for me to jump to Atlantic in '95. For that first test, not many people know this, I actually had to pay for it myself. I think it was $5,700. And I want to thank the lady whose name I don't know at the Royal Bank in Richmond Hill. She was the loan officer at the time. I had this piece of crap 1982 Honda Accord as collateral. That was it. She originally, when I handed in all my paperwork, said, we can't do this. It was a small business loan or something like that. I wrote it down as. And when she said no, out of desperation and, very seriously, I said, look, okay, here's the real deal. This loan is for a race car test, which sounds ridiculous, right, to a loan officer. I said, it's for a race car test, and if I do well at this test, I'll get the NTM Bearing sponsorship. If I get the sponsorship, it's literally going to change the trajectory of my career and pretty much change my life. So she actually agreed to do the loan. And so I got the money, went to the test, everything went fantastically. About a year later, I went back to the Royal Bank in Richmond Hill because I wanted to thank her, and she was no longer there. They had fired her, so I guess in hindsight I should have paid the loan back. That last part's not true. Obviously, I want to thank players for their sponsorship and contributions to support up-and-coming Canadian talent through their development program over the years, and NTM Bearings, obviously. But, we really need more companies like that to step up and help the young guys come up and through the sport. It takes a lot of sponsorship, and we need more companies like that. I want to give a quick shout-out to my old teammate and friend, David Empringham, for connecting me with Derek Walker back in 2011. Because of that connection, I've had the position for 14 years now as driver coach and performance engineer in IndyCar with Ed Carpenter Racing, as you saw in the video. So thanks for that. One last story here for all the young people out there that are not from the 1900s, that are trying to make it in the sport. One of my biggest heroes, as for most Canadians, is Gilles Villeneuve. Not because of how many races he won or lost, but simply because of his sheer determination on track. Fast forward to a 1999 Toyota Atlantic race for me at Long Beach in California. It was a rain race. It was pouring rain, terrible weather. The weekend wasn't going that well for me. I qualified 6th. And when we took the green flag, the only thing I could see was that faint red glow of a tail light in front of me and a white mist. And so on the first lap, going onto the back straight, I slid wide, hit the wall really hard with the left side of the car, and it was pretty bent. I called it in. The crew wanted me to pit, and I just thought, I'm not going to give up. I can't do that. I had fallen back to 8th, but I thought I'm just going to push through and see what I can dig out of this. And so I kept driving. And, really, I thought of what Gilles would do. And, him being my hero, he's like, he wouldn't give up. He wouldn't pit. He would push through. The car vibrated so bad on the straightaway, I couldn't even see. I'd hit the brake pedal in the brake zone. The brake pedal was shuddering under me. The car would jerk violently sideways. And I'm like, it's either going to throw me in the wall or it's going to stop working. But I'm not stopping. I'm not quitting. So I kept pushing. And as the track dried, I pushed harder every lap. I ended up finishing on the podium in 3rd place. So I'm really glad I didn't pit. Thanks. After the race, my crew chief said, I can't believe the car finished. The gearbox was broken in half. It was crazy. But the cool part was later that year at the banquet, I was given the Gilles Villeneuve Award, surprisingly enough. And it was for perseverance in the face of adversity. And to this day, it's actually probably the trophy that I'm most proud of. So my message to all the young people out there is, I know how hard it is. It's a hard road to make it in racing. And all you young guys, you just got to keep driving forward. Put your head down and don't stop pushing until you get to where you want to be. Leave nothing on the table. Don't make any excuses. And I promise you, you won't only have success in racing, but you'll have success in life as well. Thank you. On that note, I just want to point out that this comes at a special time for my family, this award. My son is turning 10 this month. And just like his old man, he's going to take his first green flag at 10 years old in a go-kart this spring. And I only hope that when he puts his head down and starts driving forward, he too can look up 44 years later and be proud of what he's done. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Will. I got a message that the Royal Bank would like to have a word with you. Our next nominee was a competitor, a builder, and held many positions in his career.
Since trying his hand at auto slalom in 1976, John Buchanan went on to achieve success as a driver, a supporter, and a motorsport builder at the grassroots level. The Campbellville, Ontario resident won 4 class titles and an overall points title in the Ontario Auto Slalom Championship between 1979 and 1984, while also winning a class title in the Canadian National Auto Slalom Championship in 1983. Buchanan competed in the Rally of the Tall Pines from 1999 to 2001 and won numerous events in the Ontario-Quebec Winter Drive X Rally Series between 1999 and 2005. When the Targa Newfoundland Tarmac Rally came along, Buchanan got involved as a competitor, a builder, and a team manager, servicing a 1967 Acadian Canso that he drove to a string of successes between 2002 and 2011. He was awarded the Gold Targa Plate Award for being the top finisher 5 years in a row, before being presented the Platinum Targa Plate Award as the top finisher for 7 straight years. Away from the driver's seat, Buchanan established the Ontario Time Attack Championship and served as a national sporting director for CASC, where he introduced the first computerized scoring system for the National Auto Slalom Championship in 1984. He held various leadership roles with CASC during the 1980s and has recently served as a member of the Ontario Time Attack Technical Committee. As a motorsport supporter, Buchanan spent 15 years as the Yokohama Tire Motorsport lead, establishing sponsorship programs for events, series, teams, and drivers, including the Canadian Tire Formula 2000 Championship, Formula Ford 1600 Championship in 4 provinces, Canadian Rally Championship, and multi-time Canadian Rally champions Frank and Dan Sprong. Please welcome Judd Buchanan into the 2024 competitor and builder categories.
Joining Judd Buchanan on stage to present his medallion is John McGill.
Wow, I don't know where they got all those pictures from, but it's too much. Anyway, good evening, everyone. Just in case I get black flagged, I wanted to get this out of here at the very beginning and thank those. Oh, wow. All right, wow. And I wanted to thank all those who've touched my life over the years and made it possible for me to recognize and receive this honor. And thank you all for supporting me, and I'm extremely humbled. I didn't grow up in a family of sports fans, let alone motorsport fans. Although as I look back, my dad and my older brothers had some pretty cool cars by today's standards. When I was 10 years old, I didn't go karting. I took the money I saved from my paper route and I bought a Mustang bike. It had a black and white checkered banana seat, high handlebars, chrome fenders, and a 3-speed shifter. Boy, was I excited. Didn't take long, though, before I stripped off the fenders, swapped in bigger tires, and started doing wheelies and checking out bicycle rodeos. My dad said to me one day, or saw me one day rather, and remarked, "You know, son, if you modify your bike and ride it like that, you'll surely modify and drive a car like that someday." A light went on. When I did have my own car to modify, I attended an auto slalom event in, I believe it was in Kingston. Wow, I thought, this looks just like those bicycle rodeos. This should be a piece of cake. Needless to say, I got my doors blown off that day. A few weeks later, I attended a lapping day at Nelson International Raceway, now known as Shannonville Motorsport Park. This really opened my eyes to motorsport, although by the third lap I had no brakes left, but I was really hooked. The following year, I joined the Oshawa Motorsport Club and immersed myself in competing, organizing events, and, of course, modifying my car. With my new group of friends, Matt Calder, Len Wellen, Tom Cinnamon, and a bunch of other guys, we organized a track lapping competition where only your fastest lap counts. All was going well until the club's insurer advised us that if they wouldn't cover our unsanctioned events unless we put forth proper rules and regulations. Can you believe it? Wow. Now, along the way, I had met John McGill. He was a director in the sport. John encouraged me to get involved in the directorship side of motorsport and suggested we create safety, driver development, and organizational procedures for our events. These additions led to our track series being sanctioned and created, and today, 40 years later, it's still there. It's known as the Ontario Time Attack Championship. Thank you. I saw an ad one day that a Japanese tire company was coming to Canada and was seeking a manager to develop marketing programs for their high-performance tires. Again, John McGill encouraged me to apply for the position. I was successful and started working for Yokohama Tire Canada. This was a real dream job. With the support of my boss, Joe Higuchi, we developed products and programs that led to support dozens of motorsport series and drivers throughout Canada. From grassroots auto slaloms to DriveX rallies, to the Motormaster Formula 2000 Series, to the Subaru-sponsored Canadian Rally Championship, to the Players Toyota Atlantic Championship. The Yokohama brand became well entrenched in motorsport, and we started to sell lots of tires. Life is good. With so many programs, I was frequently at events up to 20 weekends a year. This allowed me to take alternate time off to pursue other motorsport and car-related activity. Through motorsport, I met Hank Franzak and Rick Bai. They invited me to join their group. I jumped at the opportunity and quickly progressed to Assistant Chief Instructor for the Porsche Canada Advanced Driving School program. This was an incredible experience, getting to help Porsche enthusiasts learn the capabilities of their cars at racetracks, from Atlantic Motorsport Park to Westward Motorsport Park, and I think every track in between. In these Porsches, the brakes lasted more than 3 laps. I was a happy guy. Somewhere in the midst of all this fun, I started my own company, Vehicle Dynamics Group, developing corporate media events and new vehicle launches throughout North America. This was my second dream job. Again, through motorsport, I met the late Brian Hyland of Subaru Canada. Brian was the force behind Subaru Canada's involvement in future domination of Canadian performance rally. As Subaru Canada motorsport programs to continue to expand, I was hired to work alongside Stuart Ho and Trish McGeer in managing Subaru's involvement within the Canadian Rally Championship and Subaru Rally Team Canada. I represented the brand and managed corporate relations at all rally events. And as a bonus, I got to drive the Rally Prep Car Zero, also known as Fast Opening. What a great fringe benefit. Within motorsport, I've had the pleasure of working with hundreds of volunteers, workers, and organizations. I sincerely thank them all for their commitment. 2 such organizers, Ross Wood and John Belfleur, led me to learn about the upcoming, unique to North America, Targa Newfoundland Rally. As quickly as I could, I met with the promoter, handed in my entry form and check, and was accepted as their first independent entry. I've driven this endurance rally 9 times, and aside from establishing the best overall finishing record, thanks to our friend Beth McBlain, our team got to support a wonderful charity called Show Kids You Care. Kneeling down and chatting with the young kids, having the older ones sit in the car and take photographs, and even taking some kids for rides during the Targa Newfoundland Auto Slalom event, I found very fulfilling. Our team's success would not have been possible without the help of our friends like Peter Wright, my co-driver Jim Adams, Chris Gallard and his dad Fred, Art Vesser, along with the support at Castrol Wakefield, Canada. Thank you so much, guys, for helping me get to drive my car like I rode my bike. Some of my most rewarding experiences beyond getting trophies have been to share my knowledge and passion for driving and motorsport, be it teaching high-performance driving, supporting rookie programs, or just chatting with kids. It's been wonderful. In keeping Canadian motorsport strong, I encourage everyone here to support and share their passion with today's youth, as they are the future motorsport builders, competitors, and team supports. In closing, I just want to thank my family for supporting me all these years, in particular my wife, Robin Lynn. Enjoy your evening, and thank you very much.
Congratulations, Judd Buchanan. Our next nominee, nominated as a builder, he has also become known for waving a black flag at this ceremony when we need it.
As a motorsports volunteer for nearly 50 years, Denny Cadutt has helped with the operation of some of Canada's most notable road races. The Brassard, Quebec native first got involved as a teenager, helping in the media center at the F1 Canadian Grand Prix in 1978. Victory! He then assisted Montreal's F1 Operations Department in building and preparing the course for the Canadian Grand Prix from 79 to 81. Cadutt served in various roles as part of the track intervention team at the Canadian Grand Prix, Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières, and Circuit Mont-Tremblant since 1981.
They are off at the start at Le Circuit.
He was general manager of the Canadian Grand Prix volunteer organization from 2007 to 13, working for team services at the Canadian Grand Prix from 2014 to 18, and has dispatched emergency vehicles as the chief communicator in the tower since 1997. Cadutt spent 8 years as clerk of the course at Mont-Tremblant, helping organize the Champ Car race there in 2007. He was the vice president of Motorsport Quebec from 2009 to 11, where he organized ice racing and karting competitions throughout the province. He's also worked as sports director for Groupe de Course Octane and as a member of the Canadian Motorsports Response Team. In addition to his involvement in Formula One in Montreal, Cadutt was part of the training committee for the NASCAR races at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve from 2006 to 2012. He also helped organize IndyCar's Edmonton event in 2011 and 12. His efforts extend to the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, where he has served as a board member since 2013. Please welcome to the 2024 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Denny Cadutt.
Joining Denny to present his medallion are his sons, Maxime and Olivier.
I was so nervous that I left with a blank sheet. And for those of you who are concerned, there's a black flag guy right now replacing me. So, anyway. Wow. 47 years to get here. Thanks. I'm sorry. Thanks to Nikki LaChapelle, who nominated me. Thanks to the board for accepting my nomination. This all started with a visit of my uncle, in '78. He came to my house and he asked my mother, I said, I need your kid for the week. And my uncle is kind of a bit of a cowboy, so my mother, knowing her brother, said, not sure. So he said, well, he'll just be doing running. He's going to be a runner at the media center with the news and everything. So it took a bit of persuasion, but from there, that's where it started. So 14 years old, runner at the GP 78 for the first win of Gilles. And then part of track building team, rescue, team services, Ascens GM, and much, much more. The principal communicator as a dispatcher in the tower also for emergency vehicles. I was involved also as a municipal firefighter, provincial police dispatcher, event security officer. So all that put together was Grand Prix racing was perfect. I would like to say thank you to people that had confidence in me with the work. Chris Bay, I'll say it right away so I don't forget you. 2019 inductee Normand Legault that came to get me for the Tremblant Champ car race and offered me a full-time job with him Formula 1 after that. François Dumontier, inductee 2017, who followed Normand's lead and kept me working with him. 2012 inductee the late Bob Armstrong, who was really my mentor when I was at the Ascend. We did crazy things together, played tricks. One trick that we did is Bob was the safety officer of the Grand Prix, and every night they bring the cars in the garage. And Bob was always, we managed to put Bob's car the last one in, so the next morning when everybody came out, Bob was the last one to come out. So we were all there, we played something on him, so we were there waiting and he wasn't coming out. Suddenly we see the car come out, but there's like a foam, white smoke coming off with the car. What we did is we put some confettis in the heating system. So when he started the car, everything exploded, and he came out like this, white, looking at us, and just went like this. So that's how everything started. 2020 inductee, Dr. Rob Sill, welcomed me in the CMRT and gave me a special position in charge of all the equipment, training, and making sure the administration thing is working off. I'm privileged to be where I am right now, working with the FIA directly in race control as head dispatch for the emergency vehicles in the F1 race, thanks to Danny Fradette, who's the F1 race director in Montreal. When not in race control, I'm sitting in a rescue vehicle waiting for something to happen or not, preferably not. Racing is a big family of people that come from different levels of life, and that's what makes it so fun. You know what? Still have a minute to go, so I'm good. I have the best job in car racing. I have the best job in car racing. I'm a volunteer. .35 seconds. Any or actually all of the racing events need volunteers, and next time when you see or run into one, please say thank you. They all oh, thank you. I have to hurry up. I have 15 seconds left. Oh boy, thank you. I'm sorry about all this. Yeah, I have 2 sentences to go. Okay. When you see or run into one volunteer, please say thank you. That's all they want and to be recognized. Thank you, and for all of you guys racing around, you're more than you're more than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Denny. Thank you. Merci. Our next inductee competed and won internationally. He was also a builder and a supporter of many racers.
My adrenaline rush that I get every time I go on the track has not died once in 14 years.
Based out of Saskatchewan, Scott Campbell has risen through the karting ranks to achieve success on the international stage, while also helping the next generation of drivers from here at home. Campbell started out in Honda J2 karts in 1991, collecting many trophies during the 1990s, including 2 Screaming Eagle Pole Awards and a Duffy Winner Award at IKF events in the U.S. He also won the F125 Canadian Champion title in 2000. Campbell punched his ticket to 10 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals between 2003 and 2016, while racing mostly at events in Western Canada. As part of the Canadian national team, his Grand Finals appearances took him across the globe, from Egypt to Italy. He recorded 6 top 10 finishes in those 10 Grand Finals events.
And as they come down the start-finish line for the last time, it's Scott Campbell from Canada taking the win.
Away from the driver's seat, Campbell has served as a race director at his home track and other facilities. He formed Scott Campbell Racing in 2017 to support racers of all ages, and has coached Canadians at international and European events since 2018. Please welcome Warman, Saskatchewan's Scott Campbell to the 2024 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame.
Welcome, Scott. Unfortunately, his dad's a little under the weather, so Peter Lockhart will present his medallion.
Well, it's going to be tough to follow you. My dad, unfortunately, is here in Toronto. He flew all the way here and got sick, and he's at the hotel right now. So, unfortunately, he wasn't here to be with me. Wow. To be inducted into Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, it's a privilege. Thank you. Thank you. I would have never thought that this would have been something that would have been on my table. Karting is my passion, and I've been doing it for 4 decades, and here in the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. Wow. Okay. Whew. Okay. First, I want to thank my family. My wife, Crystal, and my 2 kids, Adeline and Lennox. They inspire me every day to follow my dreams and my passions, and I wouldn't be the person like this right now without them. So thank you. My parents, Dave and Marlene Campbell, they've been by my side right from the beginning, and I've been at 12 Grand Finals, actually, and my dad's been there right by my side every single step of the way. So thank you. My dad started racing karts the year I was born, so I literally have been at the kart track my whole life. And now I've been able to experience it so much more with all these other people that I'm helping coach and be a part of. So back, way back, I guess in the 1990s, karting was a hugely different thing than it is right now. It was push start your kart with steel bumpers, but now we got electric starts, and we have aerodynamically stuff, side pods and everything. So it's crazy the difference of the level of karting has brought in the last 4 decades. Crazy story is back in 2000 when I won my first national championship. I entered into the ASN National Championships. It was in Quesnel, BC, and they well, we decided to race in 4 classes at Nationals, which is an absolute crazy thing to do. And I had to pick the hardest ones. I picked an 80cc shifter, a 125cc shifter, an ICA, and a Formula A, and those are all direct drive karts, and so you have to push start them. But we tried to actually enter into another class in 4-cycle, but when we tried to do the entry, ASN says, whoa, you're way too overqualified for that, so we're not going to let you do that. So then I continued on my racing career and went from the 4-stroke into 125 and into then Rotax in the early 2000s, and that's where my journey really took off. I was able to represent my country 12 times at the Grand Finals, winning it once in 2010 and twice. I got second in 2012 and 2013, and now I'm able to transition into that. After my last year in 2016, I've focused on doing my Scott Campbell Racing and organizing. I'm now running the Max Karting Group with my business partner, Blake Choker from West Coast, and we run the Canadian Rotax Finals, which we now send 6 drivers every year to the Rotax Grand Finals to represent their country. Obviously, I'd like them to be Canadian, but it doesn't always work out that way because sometimes we have some Americans come up and do it too. But yeah, so karting has been a huge part of my life, and yeah, it's 4 decades, and I look forward to many more. I'm only 46, so I know there's a lot of time left in me to share my wealth of knowledge and experience with so many more people. Just a couple weeks ago, I was in Orlando, Florida with a driver from Edmonton, and we went down to the Rotax Winter Trophy and to race in DD2. We didn't know where we were going to stack up when we ended up coming out with the championship, and it punched him a ticket into the Rotax Worlds in Bahrain. That's going to be in November, so it was really, really happy to see that happen, and I'm super, super thrilled to be a part of the next generation and to help every person that I possibly can to achieve their goals and their dreams. Yeah, so I just want to thank everybody that has been by my side through my journey, and I look forward to helping so many more people along the way. So yeah, and again, thank you to the committee and to Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, and congrats to all the inductees for their inductions, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Congratulations.
Todd? Scott is a professional. He had 8 seconds left on the clock.
And you just used it. Flamborough Speedway wouldn't have its place in motorsports without our next 2 inductees, and the world would not have Flamburgers.
My brother and I both being mechanics, we're interested in auto racing, so this came as a first-class thing to do.
Brothers John and Frank Casale have staged the thrill of short track racing to fans in the Hamilton, Ontario market for decades, with over 50 years of consecutive and uninterrupted ownership of the Third Mile Flamborough Speedway. The Casales purchased the track in September of '72, looking to bring talented late model drivers to the province. Flamborough regularly saw ASA late model competitors stop by in the early 80s while in the region for ASA races at nearby Cayuga Speedway. Series such as the Oswego Super Modifieds and the Can-Am Midgets were also big draws back in the day. The track's rich history extended to Canadian talent with frequent battles between legends and Canadian Motorsport Hall of Famers Junior Hanley and Don Biederman. The Auto Value bumper-to-bumper super sprints, visited from the Midwest in the early 2000s, where Indiana racer Rick Baker set the Flamborough track record at 13.89 seconds.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The Casales continue to attract big-time events to their speedway, including a Canada Day race in 2011 that featured NASCAR stars Jimmy Spencer, Ernie Irvin, and Ken Schrader. The Gold Rush late model race brought in NASCAR driver Kenny Wallace in 2013 and 14. Flamborough has continued to host marquee shows under the ownership of the Casales, including the track's annual Gold Rush and Frost Overfest events, along with stops from the NASCAR Canada Series and APC United Late Model Series in recent seasons. The Casale brothers have been a home for 5 decades for local racing in the hobby division, the late model class, and the 4-cylinder category. Please welcome to the 2024 Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, John and Frank Casale.
Coming to the stage with John and Frank Casale to present their medallions, Randy Spencer and his daughter Larissa.
Well, I'm here. It's been 53 years, right?
Yeah, 53.
It's a long time. But we keep going. As long as the health is there, we keep going. I really don't have a speech made up, but I'll throw something out and we'll see what happens. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Lockhart, Randy, and Larissa for taking us to this journey here. It's an honor to be involved in the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. You know, it's funny, you get up here, there's a lot of things I would like to say, but when you get up here, everything goes the opposite. But it's been quite a, how should I put it, quite a journey. 53 years, we see a lot of things, the ups and the downs, and but overall, it's been great, especially the 70s and the 80s. Those are days that, I'll tell you, if you didn't get to our place early, you couldn't get a seat. That's how great it was. But we had such a number of entertainers there, like Biederman and Hanley and Zardo, Howie Scannell. Like, those guys were just great. There's a few stories I like to say about them, but there's not enough time here. But I'll just give you one. Don Biederman and Hanley, for some reason, I still don't know to this day what happened to those two guys. But they were great friends, and all of a sudden they're worst enemies. As a matter of fact, it got to the point that Don Biederman had a nickname for Junior, Mad Dog. I don't know if any of you people have heard of this, but anyways, those days were unbelievable. People couldn't get enough. Something happened on the racetrack, and these two guys go in the pits, and the pit area, of course, holds about 700 people, and it's always full. And so where they park, you know, people, the whole grandstand, you just right over where they are to see what was going to happen. Of course, Biederman, he's a real showman, you know, like when he has a crowd around him, he really shows it off. That's just one incident. There was another incident with Junior. I believe it was one of our races. It was a Coca-Cola Twin 75s. So all the racers are lined up on the front straightaway. And at that time, Mel Vanderbeek used to be our starter. And for some reason, he came down the starter stand, and of course, you know, we're introducing all the racers. Next thing I see is those two got into a boxing match. I don't know what happened. Very entertaining. And then there was another deal where it happened. We used to run for the street stocks in those days, was the triple 50s. And we used to run that on Labor Day Monday. So at that time, Howie Scannell and John Cadman Sr., both of their boys were racing in there. And of course, it was a very lengthy night. And, you know, at that place, we have a curfew, 11 o'clock, we have to shut it down. So what happened was we ran two 50s, and the third one was just a little over 11 o'clock. And of course, we had to shut down. Well, that didn't go very well. Howie Scannell and John Cadman Sr., I happened to be up at the announcer's booth there, and these two guys are walking across the track, and they came to the announcer booth, kicked in the door, grabbed my shirt, ripped my shirt, because, you know, we had to cancel the race. We were gonna finish it off the following week. But these guys didn't accept that. You know, they had to come up there, and I'll tell you, it was a scary night. But yeah, there's quite a few more. And then back in the late 80s, we decided to start endurance races. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those, but it's basically cars off the street. You take the windshield off, the glass off. You tie down the doors or weld them or whatever, and you go racing. Well, the very first one we did, I was shocked. We had 235 cars, believe it or not. 235 cars. So here we are, we got these cars lined up, 3 abreast, all the way around the racetrack to run 200 laps. It was crazy, but it was fun. So after that, we limited to 125 cars. And but the thing is, what happened was, these guys are like, it was really popular for about 6 years. It was really popular, and back like we allowed 125 cars, but we always had another 100 cars waiting, hopefully to get in. So these guys are lined up all the way down Brock Road, a mile away from the racetrack. They would stay there the whole night waiting. That's how popular it was. But anyways, I think we cleaned out all the wrecking yards with those cars, and it got to the point that we couldn't get any more cars. But that's my story. And I'd like to thank everyone for making this possible. And we also, I got to mention one more thing. In 98, I believe, we brought in the Waterloo Car Club at our track. We have a road course in the infield, and they run there every Saturday morning. And you know what? I really get a kick out of that, because there's so many young kids. I mean, kids that are 5, 6, 7 years old, and they're really, they're great to watch. They're, some of them, you know, they put on their fire suit and their helmet on. Well, the helmet is bigger than they are, you know. So, but anyways, I get a kick out of it, because they're bunch of great kids. We usually get anywhere from 70 to 100 of them on a Saturday morning. And it's great fun. And it's a good way to get families together and, you know, put on a show. And that's about it. That's all I got to say. Thanks very much. We'll see you at the track this summer. Thank you.
I see the Carnegie course really worked out well for my brother. I'm still behind, still in the background. But anyways, I'd like to thank the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. We're very, very honored to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But anyways, I'm just going to keep it real short. Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the racetrack. Every one of you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Frank. Looking forward to year 54. Our next inductee had a successful racing career and has also made great contributions as a builder.
From the driver's seat to the control tower, Cliff Dawson's motorsports career has seen him involved in a variety of road racing series. The Beaconsfield, Quebec native's passion for the sport started in his teenage years. He built a hot rod at just 15 years old and was paid to drag race a Chevy at the age of 17. He later got involved in open wheel competition, racing in Formula Ford from 1974 to 1976. He moved up to Formula Atlantic in 1977, piloting a Brabham BT38 at tracks across Quebec and Ontario. Dawson purchased another Formula Atlantic car in 1981, and then continued in the series through 1986. He also purchased a Formula 2 March 832 and competed across the U.S. and Canada in the Can-Am series for a handful of seasons. Following his racing career, Dawson served as chief steward for the Honda Michelin Series, Magna Endurance Series, Michelin Enduro, Motorola Cup, Quebec Formula Ford and Formula 2000, and Quebec Ice Racing. He joined Formula Atlantic as the series director of operations and logistics coordinator from 2000 to 2007, where he was asked to work at race control as an assistant steward. That role included filling in as series steward for events in Toronto and Mexico. During his time as steward, Dawson started a company called Pro Racing Management in 1998 to help other drivers competing in international events. He continues to be involved in local motorsports, helping young drivers learn the ropes. Please welcome Cliff Dawson to the class of 2024.
Joining Cliff on stage for the medal presentation is Peter Cohen.
Well, my eyes. Find them. So, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, my voice is not doing too well today. It's a great honor to be here tonight. I wasn't expecting to be inducted into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, but I'm grateful to have been accepted among so many motorsport greats. I have to firstly thank the whole Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame committee for all the work that they have done for Canadian motorsport and making this event possible. Thank you. So there are a number of people who have helped me throughout my racing career, and there is no way to thank them all in a short speech. There are a few specific people who I want to make a point of thanking. I would like first to thank my wife, Susan, and my daughter, Lauren. sorry, we're both here today. I wouldn't have been able to get here where I am without their support. Sorry. Next, I'd like to thank David Lambert. Dave and I worked together for many years, and when I stopped racing, I became a chief steward, as I guess you saw in the show. No, I'm okay, I think. I think. Where was I? So, once I became a steward, I recognized that I would need a strong scrutineer, and Dave was the perfect fit for that role. Dave and I traveled all of Canada and the US together for different racing series, and he was a great support at every step along the way. Even though we are retired from the racing world, he is still a great friend of mine, and thank you, Dave. I'd also like to thank Peter Cohen, my nominator. We first met at Mont-Tremblant when he was racing, and I was officiating. He was very fast, but he got into a lot of trouble. Whoops, sorry. So we met a lot. That was the beginning of a great friendship, both at the track and outside the track. He remains one of my closest friends, and it's great to have him here with me today as I receive this award. I'm very proud to be inducted into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame alongside a great class of fellow inductees. Congratulations to all of us, and thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations, Clift. Our next inductee is a competitor who raced in a variety of different disciplines.
And then again, approaching the next corner, you have a very harsh bump where you bounce a lot. It was just one lap, exhausting. Wow, keeps you busy, very busy.
From an ice surface in northern Ontario to the Brickyard in Indianapolis, John Jones has experienced success at both the grassroots level in Canada and in major racing series south of the border. Jones's first motorsports milestone came in Thunder Bay, Ontario, where he won an ice racing championship in 1983. He continued on to open wheel competition, winning the Formula 2000 Canadian Championship in 1983 and 84. He then joined the sports car ranks, where he recorded 7 top 10 finishes in 10 SCCA Trans Am starts with a best finish of second.
With John Jones leading as they come off the Broad Street Bridge. Look at him slide down onto Washington Boulevard.
He competed in the IMSA GTO class in 1985, winning the class championship on the strength of 7 wins, including the prestigious 24 Hours of Daytona and 12 Hours of Sebring. Jones spent 3 seasons in FIA Formula 3000, recording a pole position and a best finish of second. He also moved to the kart IndyCar ranks, where he spent the better part of 4 seasons, recording 11 top 10s with an average finish of 14th and 41 career starts. His best finish was 7th on 4 occasions, including the 1988 Molson Indy Toronto.
And it is the green flag in the race for the first turn, and it is Sullivan who has it.
Jones won Kart Rookie of the Year in 1988 and was the fastest rookie qualifier for the 1989 Indianapolis 500, where he finished 11th. Following his kart IndyCar activity, he ran 3 seasons in IMSA GT World Sports Cars in the mid-90s, and he raced Indy Lights in 1997. Please welcome to the 2024 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, John Jones.
Joining John Jones on stage to present his medallion is son Logan Jones.
Well, thank you, everyone. With the weather we have out here today, kind of reminds me of my days of ice racing, where it all started for me. So for those that struggle with the snow, I'm sorry, but it did bring back some good memories for me. Certainly want to thank everybody that's part of the Hall of Fame putting this together. It was great to get the call from Peter because we were teammates back in the day. But the one person, a lot of people obviously help us, anybody in motorsports along the way. The one that was the biggest part would have been my dad. Sorry, a little emotional there, but my dad was inducted in '98. He did a lot of ice racing, a lot of road racing. Growing up in Thunder Bay, we didn't necessarily have the go-karting. I wish we did, because I would have loved to start it when I was 10. So congrats for those that get to. But ultimately, ice racing was the thing that we grew up watching my dad ice race, do some road racing, and we could not wait, between my two brothers, so the three of us, we couldn't wait to be 16 and get a chance to finally go ice racing. And I can tell you still today, if you ask the three of us who is the quickest, be it a one lap and or race distance, you wouldn't get the same answer. So they all think they're quicker, but ultimately, I have to say, my dad was the one. He schooled us all. Even later in the years, he would climb back in, and it was amazing how he just jumped back in that ice racer, and he would just have that flow and the finesse. And that's really, I was fortunate. I always felt very fortunate to be able to race on ice because it taught you to be smooth, patient, slide the car. You had to wait for it. So that really helped me when it went to other things, and obviously, anytime I had a chance to race in the rain. Then we got a chance to go to Powell Motorsports, so John Powell, who I know is in the Hall of Fame, and then I was also a teammate with Peter Lockhart at that time. So here I am, a young kid, I've done this ice racing, finally get in a Formula Ford first at the school, and that next year was going to be F2000. So I have a chance to learn from one of the quick ones, running obviously with John Powell. And it was interesting that he would give me certain advice. So I learned to, ask him how to get around the track, and certainly he was very quick at Motorsports, so I was always trying to figure out where he was quick, where I could gain that little bit. And I remember, I think it was the second race that I won in F2000, we're at San Air, and I'm trying to figure out how to get around San Air, and they're talking about, Peter and John were talking about trail braking. And I'm like, what do you exactly mean by trail braking? And John told me, oh, you're not quite ready for that. Fortunately, I had my dad that I could talk to. So again, that was the great thing, having someone I could go to and say, okay, what do they mean about this trail braking? And it just got the mind going, starting to think about it. And we went on and won that race and had some pretty good success after that. And I know a lot of people help you directly, but sometimes indirectly. And that's where I have to thank Peter, because he had ESSO sponsorship. My dad, being very smart and very good at business, he immediately went after Gulf Oil and said, hey, you have your competitor. So that first year we ran, and I had a little ESSO on the car. That second year, we're going to go back and try to defend the championship in '84. My dad was able to reach out to Gulf and get sponsorship from Gulf Oil. Without that, I don't know if we would have been able to continue, but with that money, we not only were able to do F2000, but we were able to enter the 2 Trans Am races in Canada. So the one picture you would have seen there in the Gulf colors, the Trans Am at Motorsport, again, that was all because of that sponsorship. Now, a little story, here I am, still fairly young, new to the game. I jump in the Trans Am car, we run at Trois Rivières, then we get to Motorsport. That's where I had the most time, certainly on any track. Well, I'm running right up times against Willie T, who is the factory driver, and Greg Pickett. I'm ahead of Greg at that point. So now I have Willie T talking to me about lines around the track. Quick lesson learned, they don't always tell you the truth because we're talking about what's happening. And I'm asking them, well, what are you doing, when you go up the back straight into turn 8? In the F2000 car, it was flat up over that lip into 8. You wouldn't even think of lifting. Well, in that Trans Am car, with obviously the weight of the car and the horsepower, I'm like, I'm having to get out of it. And Willie tells me he's going flat. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, I've got a ways to go to get that. Well, in the race, we're running towards the front. I'm chasing down for third, and I'm getting closer and closer, and I finally got a little greedy. I went over that lip. By the time the car settled down, turn 8's going that way, I am 3 layers of catch fencing in. I only tell that story. It's not always great to think back of when you've had some accidents and whatnot, but it was a very good learning curve. I realized right then and then I could get a lot of information from other drivers, but don't believe everything. But it also really helped establish that here's this young kid that came in, and I was running up front with their factory drivers, and that's what led to the next year to be able to race. So you might have seen some of the pictures of the Motorcraft Mustang when we won Daytona and Sebring, and I bring that up because obviously that all led to it. But I just had a chance to go to the Daytona 24 Hours. Ford Motorsports called me up out of the blue. So first I got a call from Peter about this, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And going back and looking at pictures and thinking of my career, and then they called me up. I didn't realize it was the 40th anniversary from when we won the Daytona 24 Hour in the GTO class. So I actually had a chance to go back down. That same car is now running in the historic class. So I could tell you my wife and my son were with me. They thought that was very funny that now they're calling me historic because I have a car that's racing either vintage and or historics. But it just kind of tied everything in. So I have to admit the last few weeks I've had a lot of different emotions and memories coming back my way because of that. Then I went on to have some success in F3000 in Europe and in IndyCar, and I have to say I'm very fortunate that Labatt's Blue sponsored us, so I proudly carried that for a number of years competing in that side of it. Anybody here that's obviously stepped into motorsports, family's a big part of it. I was fortunate that my dad and my family was behind me, but then you think of the spouses. So I want to make a call out to my wife. She worked in motorsport. She worked for SCCA, so that's how I ended up in the States and now living in Denver. But ultimately, she worked for SCCA, and I'd love to say that I walked into credentialing and I see the pretty girl there that I'm going to, sign up for that race weekend and had the nerve to ask her for a date. That's not quite how it went. That first race in '85, the team was not organized. So they get there, they're trying to get all the credentials done. So Charlie Seelix, who was the team manager and a great mentor to me, basically looked at Rob and says, well, we owe you dinner for doing all this for you, but basically told her she was too old for him. Now here's a gentleman in his 60s and she's in her early 20s at this point. But nonetheless, he says, I have someone that's going to take you out to dinner. So that was our first date. I truly was set up. We went on our first date, but all these years later, and how many kids later, here we are. So apparently I did something right along the way. Thank you. But I want to share one story, because I know anybody that's a family member, we're tracing our dream. So I'm doing what I love to do. She was in motorsports just because it was a job. And now she's following my career, but still working in motorsports and still does this taste. So she's actually had a longer career than I had. But ultimately, just share one story. We qualified for the Indy 500. So I'm excited. Obviously, this is the big race. Didn't sleep maybe as well as I wanted that night before. You're up early. I'm just antsy. I want to get to the track. We're staying in an apartment about 4 miles away. So for race day, they said, here, you need to come in this way. They hand me a map. We put a sticker in the window. They said, follow these directions because of all the traffic coming in. All right, that's great. I get to the first barricade where ideally I'm pointing to the sticker. Some traffic has to go left. Nope, they see the sticker, they wave me through. I get down to the next one, and here's police officer, rented for the day, whatever. He's just waving everybody left. I have my hand out the window trying to point, can you not see the sticker? I need to go straight. I'm following the rules that they gave me, and he's just telling me go left. Well, being a racer, we're looking for the shortest distance. So I look ahead, a block up is the next barricade, so I just drive around the police officer, head straight up there and stop. I stop to tell him, hey, I'm supposed to go this way. Here comes the cop chasing after me. I am now under arrest. The day of the Indy 500, he has me out of the car. He's writing me a summons. I'm like, look, I'm sorry, but I just didn't think you didn't see the sign. I'm one of the drivers. I'm in the race. He doesn't care of any of that. This is pre-cell phone. So Robin's with me. She gets out looking around like, what is going to happen? Sees a gas station, runs to the gas station to a payphone to try to call the speedway. Like, look, John's is getting arrested right now. Literally wrote me a summons. Luckily, the police officer I drove up to said, just take this. Go left, go up to the next one, they'll get you in. Fortunately, we finally get to the speedway. I get to the garage. Some of the security guard from the speedway says, I understand you were handing a summons. They took it and tore it up, said, don't worry about it. So now I'm completely calm. Here's Robin, an absolute wreck, because I just put her through this little ordeal. So again, I just appreciate anybody that's followed those that are in motorsports and obviously supported our careers. I know there's a lot of people that helped me along the way. I hope they all enjoyed it, had some fun. And again, thank you very much for the induction. Really honored.
Our next inductee, a builder and a big influence on so many.
We didn't give up from the beginning to the end. That's good, actually, because there's no way you can afford to relax in these cars.
Originally from Scotland, the late Tony Morris Sr. started his motorsports career in motorbikes as a teenager before competing in endurance and rally racing events in the early 1960s. Morris came to Canada in 1967 with a pair of Cooper Minis gifted to him by British Leyland, where he was a test driver. He won the C and D sedan championships from 1967 to 1970 aboard the Minis. Morris then switched to a Camaro Heavy Chevy in 1970 and won regional championships in 1971 and 1975. He won a couple of notable events in the early 70s and became national champion in Sedan A2 in 1974. Morris moved to production class cars in the BF Goodrich Honda Series in 1980. He also competed in Canadian Rally Championships and later raced in the Players GM Motorsport West Series from 1987 to 1992.
Thing is that there's some really young guys in the series, and they feel very embarrassed getting beat by an old guy.
Outside of the race car, Morris was in charge of the racing division at Dunlop Tire Company during his time in Europe. He was later the team manager for Frank Allers, who won 5 Players GM West Championships. He spent multiple seasons as a head driving instructor and track manager at Westwood Motorsport Park before helping with the design and safety of a new track in Mission, BC following Westwood's closure. Morris was the official Western Canada FIA track safety inspector in the late 1980s and was a key contributor in setting up the Vancouver Indy Street Circuit. He also took care of Porsche Canada's Western media cars and was a TV personality through his show AutoCheck. He was a longtime council member of the SCC BC and was providing tires to Western Canada racers through Circuit Tire. Please welcome Tony Morris Sr. to the 2024 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame.
Presenting and accepting on behalf of Tony Morris is Gabriel and Mark Torley.
You hear about the joke about the German wiener? It's the worst. You don't want to hear about it. Just thought I'd lighten the mood. Good afternoon, everyone. First off, I'd like to thank Peter Lockhart, the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame Induction Committee, my family, and everyone who was a part of my dad, Tony Morris's incredible career. I'm Mark Torley, and I'm the son of Tony Morris. It's an honor and privilege to accept this induction award on behalf of my dad. You may have noticed that our names don't match. That's because my dad's real name was actually Morris Torley. In the 1960s, while working as the head manager for Dunlop Tire in the UK, handling the Formula One and World Rally Series division, Dunlop didn't want him to race. But my dad wasn't one to let anything stand in the way of his passion. So he changed his name to Tony Morris and went racing anyways. That was the kind of person he was: determined, resourceful, and driven by the love of motorsport. He raced anything he could: cars on ice, motorcycles on ice, rally racing, and various forms of sedan racing. And when he moved to Canada in 1967, he kept the name Tony Morris to avoid confusion. Born in Johnstone, Scotland, my dad quickly became a major force in Western Canadian motorsport. As a driver, mentor, and ambassador for the sport, he left an undeniable mark. His early successes in rally and sedan racing, particularly with his iconic number 88 Heavy Chevy Camaro, earned him respect as both a fierce competitor and a beloved figure in the racing community. But his impact wasn't just on the track. When he wasn't running Circuit Tire or helping local racers with his expertise, he was a loving and dedicated husband, a hockey coach to my brother and I, and always keeping us active in sports. He provided me with invaluable guidance in my early 20s as I pursued my professional snowboarding career, and he played a huge role in the success of my brother Tony Morris Jr.'s racing career. Beyond his own racing achievements, my dad was deeply involved in shaping the sport. As manager of Westwood Racetrack, race drivers committee chairman, and head driving instructor, he worked tirelessly to nurture the next generation of drivers. He served as the Western Canada FIA track safety inspector and played a key role in establishing the Vancouver Indy track. He also helped the Western Canadian Motomaster race team to multiple Players GM Motorsport Championships and became a familiar face on TV with AutoCheck. A longtime member of the SCCBC and the owner of Media Car Service, he managed the fleet of Porsche vehicles in Western Canada, always finding new ways to contribute to the sport he loved. My dad was a true pioneer in Canadian motorsport, and his induction into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame is a reflection of the lasting impact he had. Frank Allers, a longtime friend, teammate, and representative of the Hall of Fame, said, "Tony was not only a talented driver, but also a mentor and advocate who inspired countless individuals in the motorsport community. His legacy continues to influence the sport today." My dad passed away in July of 2016, but I know he'd be incredibly proud of this recognition from the Canadian motorsport community. On behalf of my family, thank you for this incredible honor.
Thank you, Mark. This next inductee began as a racer and then also ran his own team.
With over 50 years in the motorsport industry, Nigel Mortimer helped boost grassroots road racing in Ontario. As a driver, he competed in Solo 2, Solo 1, four-stroke karts, shifter karts, stock cars, GT2, F1600, Formula Mazda, Formula Libra, Miata Challenge, F3000, and Targa Newfoundland. He won his class at the 2004 Targa. He also won multiple technical and achievement awards between F1600 and the Motorsport Club of Ottawa, including the MCO Lifetime Achievement Award in 1995 and the MCO Driver of the Year in 2004. Mortimer started his own team in 1990, which at one point consisted of 9 F1600 cars and 4 Formula Mazdas, making it the largest race team in Canada at the time. Mortimer Racing won the Ontario Formula Ford Championship 3 straight seasons, from 2007 to 2009. The team also competed in the SCCA Formula Atlantic Series. Mortimer Racing is still active, most recently fielding 6 Formula Mazdas, 4 Miatas, and a pair of F2000 cars. In addition to his race team, Mortimer has helped the next generation of drivers through multiple decades as an auto racing driving instructor, a teacher at racing, high-performance driving, slalom, and winter driving schools. He currently serves as the director of the Ottawa Sports Car Club and is a member of the Ontario Race Committee. Please welcome into the 2004 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Nigel Mortimer.
Joining Nigel for the presentation of his medal is his son, Adam Mortimer.
Wow. Look, Mum, I made it. I hope that you all here can at some point achieve this. It's amazing. You can't believe it. Thank you to so many of the racing family that are too numerous to mention. Some notables are Lou McKenzie, Steve McCamus, my wife Wendy, and my son Adam. You probably don't realize it, but the little guy sitting on the pedal car beside my under 2-liter Can-Am car is here now. He races one of my Miatas. He wins almost every race. His daughter is 3 years old, and she spent so much time up on the top step of the podium that when she goes to the racetrack, she thinks that's her spot. The other day, she called me up and she's, "Granddad," she's all tearful. "Granddad, I race." I said, "Yeah, that's okay. But Granddad, I need a car." "No worries, I got this. I want a pink car." "No problem, in the bag." Racing has consumed my life. My big takeaway from racing is the people I've met and bonded to. They are family to me. From a passion at 16 to today, it started when my mum took me to see Stirling Moss at a Crystal Palace racetrack near London when I was 3 years old. It was a red car. Funnily enough, I love red cars. Pedal cars to slaloms, to road racing, stock cars, go-karts, Formula Ford, Formula Atlantic, F3000, F2000, Formula Mazda, GT cars, Targa Newfoundland, and now Miatas. I've won hundreds of races. I built engines for Formula Ford 1600, 2000, Cosworth engines for Atlantic, Toyota Atlantic engines, and Miatas. I find it embarrassing when I have to talk about my achievements, but I realize that a lot of you don't know me, so you're wondering why I'm receiving such a monumental award as this. So here goes. I started the Quebec Formula Libre Club. I started the Calabogie Formula Libre Series. I started the Calabogie Miata Series. I helped organize CASC Miata Cup, and now I'm organizing the Miata NASCAR support race at Calabogie this year. That's a first. I served on the board of directors for the Motorsport Club of Ottawa and the Ottawa Sports Car Club currently. I organized many race driver schools. I started a winter driving school for MCO that continued for 25 years, and I helped save a lot of lives. All of my graduates said this should be mandatory. I agree with that, especially when you're driving in Toronto, right? Racing and working on cars also got me noticed by the Federal Department of Transport Canada Road Safety. They hired me to investigate safety problems with vehicles and test dangerous problems. They reasoned that if I knew how to fix cars and was stupid enough to race, I was the perfect candidate. They were right, as I did some crazy, dangerous stuff and lived to write reports about it. Apart from getting hundreds of recalls on cars, trucks, snowmobiles, and motorcycles, I also investigated and was instrumental in improving ABS, stability control, and winter tires. I co-starred in a movie about Lou Mackenzie's racing and the subsequent 12-part miniseries on PBS. I co-starred on Rick Mercer Reports on a winter driver training program. That guy's crazy. We laughed so hard that day, I'm telling you. I starred in winter driving tire training videos. I'm still racing. My race team, Mortimer Racing Group, currently wins almost everything we enter, and that is a huge source of pride for me. So, as you can see, racing is a lifestyle, and it has been very good to me. I am not done yet and will continue to train crew members and drivers and field a team of cars, Formula cars, and Miatas. Thank you to all of you in attendance here for listening to me drone on. I know it must be tedious. Thank you to the board of the Hall of Fame for bestowing this huge honor on me. I still have no money, but now I'm famous. Zero time left on the clock. I gotta go.
Thank you, Nigel. Congratulations. Our next inductee is being honored as a builder who contributed to many racing careers.
Through his roles with automotive manufacturers and other companies, Michael Nye has supported Canadian racers and events for nearly 5 decades. Nye started out with Rothmans Canada from 1976 to 1986, sourcing sponsorship for teams in CASCAR, the Canadian Grand Prix, and Paris to Dakar Rally.
And there the flag given, and the Jaguar leads into the first turn.
He helped bring the first international World Sports Car Championship event to Canada at Motorsport, and coordinated activities and promotional events for the Rothmans Porsche World Sports Car entry. Nye worked at Porsche Canada from 1986 to 1989. During his time with both companies, he helped develop the Rothmans Porsche series for Porsche 944 cars. He coordinated sponsorship support for an all-Canadian entry at Le Mans in 1986 and developed the National Porsche Turbo Cup Series in 1987. He also assisted Scott Goodyear in getting a factory ride with Audi and established the Porsche Advanced Driving School. Nye then worked for Nissan Canada and Infiniti Canada in the 1990s, helping develop the Nissan Grand Prix at Motorsport and managing a Nissan factory entry in the Firehawk Canadian National Series. A president of Ferrari Quebec and the Circuit Mont-Tremblant from 1999 to 2005, he oversaw the rebuilding of the track and achieved sanctioning with the FIA. Nye continued to support racing as president of Pace Motorsports Incorporated. From 2009 to 2023, he helped develop a TV series for the Canadian Touring Car Championship, built an automotive training and activation company for high-performance driving events, and executed corporate media events and product launches for a wide variety of automotive manufacturers in this role. Please welcome Michael Nye into the Builder category of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame.
Michael is away and could not be with us to receive the award tonight. Accepting on his behalf as JD presenting is David Booth.
So many of you know David Booth as a big motorcycle guy, and so I think the snow really scared him today. So it's just me. As mentioned, my dad certainly passes on his enormous thanks. He and my mother are actually on a trip of a lifetime at the moment. I think they are somewhere near South Africa right now. So travel back was a little bit prohibitive for him. It didn't stop him from quickly looking up Cape Town to Toronto flights. But I think, rightfully so, after giving up every one of her weekends from about 1984 through the year 2000, my mom just said, no, you're not, we're not doing it. So in trying to decide what I wanted to talk about tonight, I went through a couple of workshop sessions with my very much non-motorsport wife, and it was interesting kind of thought experiment in that I would get through about half of every story where I noticed the look of like total incredulity on her face, and I would have to stop and say, oh no, they don't let you do that anymore. You're not that's not a thing anymore. So in fairness, instead of kind of doubling down on those stories, what I thought I would do instead is offer up a bit of a public service announcement. Because unbeknownst to the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, by inducting my father here tonight, you're also inducting a gentleman by the name of Antonio Bianco from Milan, Italy. Now, Peter, I can sense some nervousness and some confusion, so allow me to explain. So, back in the 1980s, wherever we were traveling around, whether it was Motorsport or Shannonville or certainly at Le Circuit, my dad would always have like a full set of race gear with him. Now, note he is being nominated or inducted as a builder. He was not a race car driver, but he still had all the gear with him. And I assume he brought his suit, the helmet, the boots, the gloves, just on the off chance like Derek Bell was sick one day or Hans Stuck missed his flight. And then like Jackie Ickx would have to run around Porsche Park saying like, is there someone from brand marketing that could jump in and drive with me this weekend? Fortunately for all involved, that never happened. But what did happen on occasion, especially at Le Circuit Mont-Tremblant, was that the Jim Russell Race School at the time would be part of most race weekends. They were on the bill, and they were kind of an official race, one of the kind of the support cards. And so at the time, it was an amazing opportunity for young Quebecois drivers to get into a car and really get to feel what a race weekend was like. So they had practice sessions, qualifying, and a proper race on Sunday. And on occasion, there would be an extra car, a seat available, and that sometimes would go to my dad. So, not wanting his bosses at either Rothmans or Porsche or Nissan to find out that he was spending his work weekends playing race car driver, he entered those races as Antonio Bianco from Milan, Italy. So, admittedly, I thought this was unique, but then I just heard Tony's story, and apparently back in the day you could just call yourself whatever you wanted and go racing. But so, I can sort of hear the questions already. Did Antonio Bianco possess blistering straight line speed? He did not. But did he make up for that by attacking the corners like Tremblay's famed Namuro with the wild abandon of a young Gilles Villeneuve? Also, no. But was he able to carve his way through the field like a young Scott Goodyear had done in his Pop 84 944 Turbo that same weekend on that very same track? Absolutely not. Though Antonio qualified last, and that is very much where Antonio Bianco finished. However, at the end of the day, sitting on the grid, sweating and exhausted, did any driver that weekend have a bigger smile on their face? Absolutely not. So thanks very much to the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. It's an incredible honor for my father and our family. We truly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, JD. Our next inductee is in the media category and has helped many of us media members out of a jam.
Through decades of media relations and marketing experience, Jerry Priddle helped promote some of Canada's most notable racing events, series, and drivers. He started his career at Wheelspin News and Motorsport Park between 1979 and 87, before holding various roles for the Priddle Event Edelman Group from 1988 to 96.
Is Emma going to get him?
There's your leaders in the back straightaway.
He managed PR, ticket sales, and the Event Media Center for the Toronto and Vancouver Indy races for several seasons, while holding a similar role at the 1988 and 89 F1 Canadian Grand Prix. Priddle was in charge of media relations for the Players GM Series East and national events for 5 seasons, while also being a key member with the Players Driver Development Program in the mid-90s, which included media training for drivers. With Edelman, he managed the Players Kart IndyCar PR team for 3 seasons, including media relations for Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame Jacques Villeneuve during his Indianapolis 500 and championship season in 1995, and for the late Greg Moore. Priddle was the Director of PR and Advertising for Bridgestone Canada from 1996 to 2002, managing F1-related and IndyCar programs in Canada, including sponsorships and hospitality at Canada's F1 and IndyCar events. He also worked with the Bridgestone Racing Academy. Priddle then joined Motorsport as Vice President from 2005 to 2010, overseeing marketing, PR sales, sponsorship, and hospitality programs.
They make contact! Elliott spins the 3! Across the stripe he'll go! Elliott wins in Canada!
In 2011, Priddle created his own company, Accelerate Marketing and Communications, where he continues to work with the historic track now known as Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Please welcome to the media category of the 2024 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Jerry Priddle.
Joining Jerry on stage to present his medallion is his son, Ryan Priddle.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you to Joel. I just saw him there a minute ago, and Eric Thomas for that wonderful video. It sure brings back a lot of memories. And I want to open with just a few more thank yous. First of all, to the Hall of Fame's board for your time and dedication celebrating Canada's motorsport heritage through events like this. Next, to the selection committee for considering my time in the sport worthy of joining the honored members who have been inducted into the Hall over the past 30-plus years. A big congratulations to all of the other inductees being recognized here today. We'll always have a special bond as the class of 2024. This truly is a great honor for me. Unlike many of the Hall's inductees, though, I didn't race, I didn't crew, I didn't run a race team, a series, or a track. But what I did do was help tell the stories of those people, those sponsors, and the tracks through public relations campaigns. And I ran marketing programs that helped bring the fans out to the events. But like any successful race team, I didn't do it alone. And looking at some of those players racing stuff, we had a huge team that worked on that. And it was with the support of the media, with creative agencies on the advertising side, suppliers, and many dedicated co-workers who went above and beyond to help me and help everyone get the job done right. And I'll forever be grateful for their efforts and, in many cases, their friendship. I've had the good fortune to work on some of the biggest motorsport events in Canada, and as you can imagine, I've had some amazing experiences along the way. I've had Hollywood legend Paul Newman apologize to me for not having a media pass and asking permission to enter the Motorsport Media Center so he could watch his driver qualify in Can-Am racing. Now that's a classy guy. Back in 1983, when Michael Andretti was competing in the Atlantic Series at Motorsport, I drove him around Buffalo for a media tour in, now get this, a green 1974 Dodge Dart with a rusted fender on the front. The Motorsport Company car that I was supposed to get for that media tour fell through, so I had to use my personal car. I was 22 years old at the time, and that was the first car that I ever owned. I was really nervous about how he'd react when I went to pick him up, but he was cool about it, we had a good laugh, and he rocked the media interviews that day. It was a big success. Although, I gotta say, our departures from Buffalo couldn't have been more different. He flew home to Nazareth in the beautiful, sleek Andretti jet, while I drove back to Toronto in my Dodge Dart, hoping that the fender wasn't gonna fall off. I've worked with Jackie Stewart at the Monaco Grand Prix and done events with the likes of Mario Andretti, Emerson Fittipaldi, and Canadian greats like Ron Fellows and Jacques Villeneuve. One of my most cherished memories of all, though, is working with Greg Moore during his Indy Lights Championship and IndyCar rookie seasons. He was so talented on the track and so good with the media. Greg was simply one of a kind. I've been blessed to work for some great bosses and work with some great bosses over the years. Pete Chapman at Wheelspin News, who gave me my first full-time job in motorsport. Harvey Hudis, the legendary Motorsport owner and president. Al Policy, Don Gauthier, and Trevor Hoskins at Bridgestone. And Miles Brandt, CTMP's president. And then there's the boss who I also called Dad, Sid Priddle. Sid, who was inducted into the Hall in 2017, is the reason I grew up with a love of racing, which later led to a career in motorsport. In 1987, he invited me to join him at his agency, a new PR agency that he was launching. He had one client at the time, but oh, what a client. It was the Molson Indy Toronto, and I leapt at the chance. Shortly after, more assignments came from Molson, General Motors, and Players Racing. And working with Sid was a PR masterclass, and I learned so much. My mom, Betty, and sister, Deanne, also worked with us on Players Racing and Molson Indies, while my brother Stuart was on the brand side at Molson. So to Sid and Betty, who are watching from home, thank you for all that you've done for me. And thanks to Deanne, my sister, for nominating me. Here I am, Dee? Now, this Priddle family affair with racing has continued with my wife, Donna, and my 3 children, Kevin, Rebecca, and Ryan, who have all worked with me at some point on motorsport projects. Donna first helped me while we were dating, and I was a summer intern at Wheelspin. We'd travel to short tracks, including Flamborough, doing Wheelspin promo nights in the company's old beat-up station wagon that we dubbed the Blue Pig. There were long days and there were late nights, but Donna never complained. And lucky for me, she agreed to marry me a few years later. Over the years, Donna held down the fort with 3 children while I was away working race weekends. And there were a lot of race weekends. This is the nature of our sport. And I love her for that and so much more. So it's a real joy for me to share this special moment with her and my children, including Becca, who's watching from home in Calgary. In closing, I want to express how thankful I am to be here today, celebrating our great sport and country with all of you. So take care, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you, Jerry. Congratulations. Up next, it's not a single person, but it's a very successful team.
When it's over, I'll sit on the porch, but right now I'm just trying to win every race I go to.
After starting their motorsports careers separately, Bob Reynolds, Pat Reynolds, and Roger Bateman joined forces to go on a successful 20-year run with their Showdown Funny Car team. The Calgary, Alberta trio got involved in the sport as owner-drivers in the early to mid-60s, before Bob and Pat started working together in 1976 as co-owners of an NHRA Econo funny car. They spent 4 seasons together with Bob as a driver. The duo combined efforts again in 1983, partnering with Roger Bateman. As a group, became co-owners of the NHRA Top Alcohol Funny Car. Bob served as crew chief, Pat as a crew member and team manager, and Roger as a driver.
Right on the nail for Bateman, 5:03 reaction.
The Showdown team went on a 2-decade run, securing 6 Canadian NHRA Open Championships, 2 AHRA World Championships, and the 1998 NHRA Division 6 Top Alcohol Funny Car title. Bob won the 1998 NHRA Division 6 Sportsman Crew Chief of the Year award during the team's championship run. The trio also won a notable event down under, taking home the Australia Funny Car Challenge in 1989. The Showdown team was consistently competitive and a regular winner in NHRA divisional racing, picking up multiple track records in Western Canada and the U.S. along the way. The team raced at many tracks across BC, the prairies, and the Western U.S., while Bob and Roger also went south for roughly 5 races each winter in Puerto Rico and Aruba between the late 1980s and 2001. The trio went their separate ways after the 2003 season, with Bob serving as a crew chief on various top alcohol funny car teams through 2010. Roger raced and then crew chief various cars in the NHRA Divisions 5, 6, and 7 till 2021, winning 3 NHRA Division 5 Top Alcohol Funny Car Championships and the 2009 IHRA Rocky Mountain Nationals. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Showdown Funny Car team into the 2024 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame.
Presenting the medallions for Roger Bateman, Bob Reynolds, and Pat Reynolds is Bob Alberton. Pat Reynolds is going to accept for herself, and Roger Bateman and Sherry Reynolds will accept for Bob Reynolds.
Hi, my name is Pat Reynolds. I don't have anything written down, but I'd like to thank the committee for voting us in to the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. We are from Calgary. We were a Calgary-based team. We raced all over the U.S. and Western Canada and Australia, as you saw on that. Roger Bateman was the driver and owner. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it here. My husband, Bob Reynolds, was the crew chief. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2021, so he can't be here, but our daughter, Sherry, is accepting on his behalf. And then, of course, I'm inducted, and like I say, my name's Pat. What can I say? So as a race team, I've been involved in drag racing for about 39 years. Bob and Roger it was like 50 years for them. Bob and I started out on our own, and then we got together with Roger, and we, what do you want to say, formed a great racing team. We were based out of Calgary. We didn't have, what do you want to say, the big trailers that race cars do have now. But you know what? Bob used to say, you don't race trailers. Spend the money on the race car. And that is true. I got involved in drag racing. You want something funny? I don't know if there's any oval stock racers here, so I don't want to embarrass you, but after Bob and I got married in 1965, we went to an oval track in Calgary just to look to see what it was like, and we thought, gee, that's not too bad. And prior to that, we'd been doing bracket racing and stuff, but let's give it a try and see. So we went to look, and okay, they were still racing. We thought, well, let's go down in the pits and see what it looks like. So the races were still on, but we went to go down there, and we got stopped. It was just Bob and myself, and basically what they said was, sorry, no women allowed in the pits. So you know what? Bob and I left immediately. We've been into drag racing, and we loved it, and we succeeded very well. That's how I got into drag racing. So, we were always a pretty small crew. It was just Bob, Roger, and I. The odd time we'd have friends that would help us, which was nice. Blake Gifford, Sean Brown, John Doyle, Tom Mahedon, family, friends I can't remember, but we were very lucky the last 5 or so years that we raced Showdown. Bill and Shirlene Moore joined our team, and boy, that sure took the load off of all of us, because now we were a team of 5 instead of just 3. But we did a lot of things. In Australia, it was great, and we were invited there in 1989. We raced. Our car was shipped from Vancouver in 1988, and we raced in January, February of '89. But I want to tell you one interesting thing dummy, Pat, did. Part of the deal was, you know, the car goes down, I back it up and put the hatch down and then stand back, and then when he races, I get in the tow vehicle to bring him back, whatever, and then Bob comes back, and what do? I get in the wrong side of the car, because we're in Australia and you drive on the other side of the street. That was very embarrassing, but needless to say, it happened. I got out, went to the right side, and I was good. Showdown, like I say, we didn't have big sponsors or whatever. We did really well, though. And we'd go up to racetracks. I'm almost out of time, but the first time our first funny car, we put it in Roger's altered trailer and we ramped it up. We went to Boise, Idaho to race at a points race, and we said, oh yeah, we're here, funny car. They look at the trailer and they say, no, okay, well, I'll take you to the pit area and show you where you should pit. They stood there until we unloaded the car to make sure it was a funny car. When we went to Phoenix, we had a longer trailer, but not the big trailers that everybody else had, and they set us in the pit area away from all the other alcohol funny cars. And we're walking up to and see all the other races that we normally race against, but that's because they didn't know us, right, in Phoenix. But anyway, we didn't know you were here, we didn't see you. Oh, we're way back there. You know, and when we were inducted into, well, not inducted, I'm sorry, when we won the Division 6 NHRA points race, which was very important to us in 1998, Bucky Austin was the one that was going to introduce us on the stage and tell all about us. And you know what he said? Every time that damn yellow pickup truck pulled into the pits, I was mad. And that was because we didn't have the big trailer, we didn't have the tow vehicle, but we beat the big guys. That's all I got to say. My time's up, and I can just say that Bob, even Roger, and myself, we love drag racing, and thank you to everybody. Sorry I went over.
One more inductee to get to. He was a key contributor to multiple NASCAR championships.
Starting at short tracks in native Canada, Murray Tim advanced his motorsports career to a long-standing role with one of NASCAR's premier teams. The Waterloo, Ontario resident started racing hobby cars and modifieds in southern Ontario in the 1980s, where he spent 9 seasons behind the wheel. He also worked at Star Racing Engines from 1986 to 93. Tim crewed for Canadian driver and Canadian Motorsport Hall of Famer Peter Gibbons in ARCA and CASCAR in 94 and 95 before moving to North Carolina to pursue a career at the sport's highest level. He joined Hendrick Motorsports as a fabricator, progressing from shop to the track, where he was a tire changer for Terry Labonte. He also worked the pits for Ricky Craven and champions Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch. Tim continued to work as a crew member and fabricator across the 3 major NASCAR touring series while becoming the aero specialist at Hendrick. He helped the team transition to the NASCAR Cup Series current spec car and was part of 13 Cup championships with Hendrick. Away from the shop, he started Pit Crew for Kids, part of the Hendrick Marrow program that visits the pediatric bone marrow unit at Duke University Hospitals. He also won the Papa Joe Hendrick Award in 2019, an award of excellence that's voted on by company employees. Outside of his working hours at Hendrick, he started his own race team, winning the car's Super Late Model Championship in 2015 as crew chief with his son Cole driving. Please welcome into the 2024 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Murray Tim.
Joining Murray on stage to present his Hall of Fame medallion is John Fletcher. Murray, just before you say a few words, we have another video that we want to play.
Murray, congratulations on being inducted into the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame in 2024. Well deserved. Man, I just think of all the things that you've accomplished in your life in motorsports, and I just think to how long that you've been contributing to Hendrick Motorsports' success across the board. You're just one of the smartest, greatest teammates that I know that we've ever had here on our campus at Hendrick Motorsports. And still relying on you today. So thank you for keeping that legacy of the 24 car and the role that you're playing there alive and well, and bringing success to all of us at Hendrick Motorsports as you have for so many years. Well deserved, buddy. Congratulations.
Well, I don't know how to back that up, but I just want to thank the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame for the induction. I'd also like to thank John Fletcher for nominating me. John's been a longtime friend of mine with the hobby club. I know we spent at least a few nights spending all night in his shop fixing my car after I knocked the clip off of it, but I appreciate our friendship, John. Thank you. I'm from Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario. Had a small family. My parents, my sisters, unfortunately, my parents are no longer here, but they would be very proud of this moment. My dad had an engine shop. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad taught me everything I know about building a motor. So after school, I'd hop my bicycle, and I'd drive right over to his shop. I'd start cleaning parts, until he taught me how to, assemble motors, build motors, machine. Then I joined the hobby club I was probably 16 years old. I decided to take the leap. I quit school and got a full-time job so I could afford racing, and this is what paved the road for the rest of my career. I raced in the hobby club for, I think it was 8 or 9 years, and made the best memories. I know John said he had a curfew at Flamborough Speedway at 11 o'clock, but we blew through that thing many nights. I know we, Al Haringas here, Steve Laking, Scott Shaw, John, a lot of us, we would finish racing, all the late model guys, super late model guys in the hobby club, and we'd be there until the sun would come back up in the morning, just talking about racing, having a couple beers, and laughing. We had a great time. The hobby club was a super great series. We did a lot of traveling through Michigan, Canada, and I met the most amazing people, and that's what kept me in the sport for so long. I think it was 93 or 94, a friend of mine, Marty Gaunt, and I, my wife Wendy and her sister Nancy, we decided to go to a NASCAR race in Charlotte. So we went down there and got to the hotel, and I met a guy named Peter Gibbons from Stouffville, Ontario, another inductee. Peter was racing the NASCAR Sportsman Series and needed some help, so he asked Marty and I if we would help him. The only problem is Peter didn't have a lot of money, and he decided that because he couldn't afford pit passes that I would fit in the trunk of his car and he would sneak me in the infield. So I crawled in the trunk of Peter's car. We rode through the tunnel. They opened the trunk, and that changed my whole entire life. The spectacle of live NASCAR racing was something that I always wanted to do, but I never really understood it until I got there that day. And when I saw what was going on, I decided that's where I wanted to be for the rest of my life. So Wendy and I moved down, and I started working for Peter for the next few years until Peter lost some sponsorship. I was forced to get another job, and I decided to look into Hendrick Motorsports. I started at Hendrick Motorsports October 1st in 1996, and I continue to still be there today. I think it was my kids were 8 years old. I decided I was going to, aside from building cars at night, which I did quite often, I build a lot of Xfinity cars, late models. I decided to buy some go-karts for my kids. We raced in WK Series. We won a ton of races, won a bunch of championships. And I decided that maybe we should just keep moving forward with it. So when my oldest son turned 12 years old, I put him in a full pro late model, and we started racing in the Cars Tour. When he was about 15, I think, maybe 16, we won the Cars Tour Championship, the Super Late Model Championship. Even though I worked day and night, I still found time to race with my kids, stay up all night, travel. Wendy put up with all the crazy ideas that I had. And, sorry. Still today, still build cars for Hendrick Motorsports. I work solely on the 24 car, which I've done a lot of stuff there, but I continue to work on the 24 car. I just want to thank everybody who's helped me along my way. This award's not just for me, but it's for all the people that helped me get here. I'm a little bit modest. I don't like to talk a lot about what I've done or how far I've came in my whole life, but the people that have molded me who I am today is why I'm here, and I'm very appreciative of it. I want to thank my wife, Wendy, my 2 kids, my son, Ryan, here. He's an artist. He's a helmet painter, and he made the trip with us. My mother-in-law was supposed to come tonight, and I don't know if anybody saw me up there crying because my oldest son works for Joe Gibbs that works on Denny Hamlin's car, and he was in Daytona Beach all week. He was supposed to be there for the Daytona 500 tomorrow, and he showed up here tonight. Thank you, Cole. Thank you guys for spending the time to come up here so I could celebrate this award. Thank you to the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. I want to thank all the other inductees tonight. Congratulations. I want to thank John and Haley for coming, and his sisters, Valerie, Scott Shaw, my oldest sister, Leslie, my main mechanic and lifetime friend, Tony, Cuesta, and Lisa, Steve Laking, Nancy, Phil, and Ann. I also want to thank Dan Hallman and Craig Fletcher. They were mechanics of mine while I raced. I want to thank everybody for tonight. I can't express how much this award means to me, and I'm very appreciative. Thank you all.
Congratulations, Murray. Thanks, John. In addition to the worthy candidates and inductees celebrated from Canada, the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame also has an international category to recognize significant accomplishments by individuals, companies, and organizations from around the world who have achieved outstanding success in motorsports.
Well, it's an exciting feeling to win, especially at my age, and for here in America, but all my friends are Canadians, where I won my first race in Montreal.
The international inductee for the class of 2024 is a drag racing legend as one of the most successful NHRA funny car drivers of all time, John Force. The 16-time NHRA funny car champion has 157 career wins, 269 final round appearances, and holds more all-time records than any other driver in NHRA drag racing history. Force started his career at drag racing's highest level as a relative unknown, going winless during his first decade of competition. He made his first career final round appearance in 1979, but he went 0-for-9 in his first stretch of final round appearances. The Yorba Linda, California native finally broke through in 1987, beating Ed McCullough to record his first career NHRA victory. And that win came right here in Canada in the Molson Grand Nationals at Saint-Air, Quebec. Earning that iconic Wally trophy as an NHRA race winner, his Canadian triumph was the start of a dominant stretch. Force in his Castrol GTX funny car would make numerous appearances to sell out crowds at St. Thomas, Ontario Dragway for years during the 1990s. Force won at least one NHRA funny car event for 22 consecutive seasons from '87 to 2008. He won his first NHRA Funny Car Championship in 1990, which he successfully defended the following year. He then went on a stretch of 10 straight championships between '93 and 2002. His most recent title came in 2013, where he became the oldest NHRA World Champion at the age of 64. Force has experienced no shortage of milestone moments throughout his career. He surpassed Don Prudhomme's record of 35 funny car victories in 1994, during a season where he won 10 times. He surpassed Bob Glidden's NHRA career victory record in 2000 with his 86th win. In 1996, Force became the only drag racer to be named Driver of the Year, and that's an award that covers all forms of American auto racing. Force has been a constant top 10 points finisher across recent decades and has qualified first in 167 NHRA funny car national events. His best career elapsed time, 3.820 seconds. His best career mile an hour, 337.33. Outside of the race car, John Force is pure showman. When he climbs out of his hot rod, as he calls it, win or lose, when the TV mic is in his face, he always entertains far beyond the price of the ticket.
I wonder did it blow up? It should have blown up. Don't care. It's got that great oil in it, that one.
Joining a long list of drag racers in the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, please welcome into the international category for 2024, John Force.
Unfortunately, John could not be with us tonight. He is very proud of this honor and wanted to send a video message.
Hi, I'm John Force, 16-time funny car champion. And I'm sorry that I can't be there with you tonight there in Canada. This is the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. And I'm excited to be here for this induction. If you look at John Force Racing, we've got over 23 championships, and 16 which I have. So when I got hurt last year in Richmond, I was hospitalized, and I spent 4 to 5 months in the hospitals, going to different ones, and but I was lucky, and I recovered, but I'm still under recovery right now. All my sponsors recognize that. Jack Beckman, that won 2 championships, ended up driving the P car, finished second in the points last year. And also, Austin Prock, who's worked for me for years, ended up driving Robert Height's Auto Club Chevrolet. So he won his first championship this year, and we're really excited about that. So where it's going to go, who knows, but we keep trying. Love the racing, love the people, love the fans. To be an inductee into the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, I'm very proud of that and honored. I love the Canadians. I've been up there in Montreal. I've been all over from one end of the country to the other. Edmonton and Calgary and different places that I've been. So I'm very honored for this induction. And I want to thank all of the people in this room that are being inducted. This is really an honor, and I'm really proud to be a part of it, and especially in Canada. It's a great place to go race. It's a great place to live, and hell, who knows where I'll end up? Maybe up there in Canada with you all someday. So I'll let go with that, and I want you to enjoy your evening, and congratulations again, and thank you for the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame for inducting me, and to all of you winners, God bless you.
Todd. John, if you're watching on live stream, we'll be sending this down to you, and some programs and what have you. And I'd like to thank Ashley Hood for all that she did to help us celebrate John. Very hard. Obviously, John can't be here, but Ashley went way out of her way to assist us in making this award possible. So thank you, Ashley.
Along with the new class of inductees each year, the Hall of Fame will recognize deserving young talent in motorsports to assist them in furthering their career. Once again this year, the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame Rising Star Award is supported by JMF Motorsports. JMF Motorsports will provide the Rising Star winner with a $25,000 contribution to their motorsports program. Please welcome John Farrell from JMF Motorsports to present this year's award to Kyle Steckley. Kyle had a bit of a rough go this afternoon in the ARCA race, but he'll for John. Accepting the award on Kyle's behalf is Dale Waddle, one of Kyle's very first sponsors. Please welcome them.
So thankful for APC Auto Parts and everyone who lets me come out and do this, and coming from the back was a blast.
The 2024 Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame Rising Star Award, presented by JMF Motorsports, goes to Kyle Steckley. The Millerton, Ontario stock car racer traveled across North America well over 25 times. The 19-year-old has continued to improve his craft as he takes on the best in both Canada and the U.S. The Ontario racer drove his APC late model to the winner's circle 4 times, went on to capture his second championship in 3 years in the prestigious late model series. Logging close to 100,000 kilometers on the family pickup truck, Steckley took on some of the best American competitors while racing in the ASA Stars National Super Late Model Series. The new kid looked very much at ease in the Super Late Models. He won big at the Redbud 400 at Anderson Speedway. His talent behind the wheel, along with his mechanical prowess, learned from the family race shop, propelled Steckley to win the ASA's Rookie of the Year title, along with second overall in points.
Kyle Steckley said, I do not want to be leading on the last lap of this race. I want to be in second place. I've seen how these races end.
Kyle made 3 starts in the NASCAR Canada Series in 2024. He piloted his 22 racing machine to a feisty podium finish in the opening round at CTMP. While the goal in 2025 is much the same. Race in the upper echelon of stock car racing in North America and take home as many wins as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2024 JMF Motorsports Rising Star, Kyle Steckley.
Hello everyone. Unfortunately, I am unable to be in attendance tonight as I am in Daytona racing in the ARCA 200. I'm honored to be selected as the 2024 Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame Rising Star Award. The award has meant a lot to me ever since my dad got inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 2018 and Raphael Lessard was the Rising Star that year. I followed along his journey through the ranks and up into the NASCAR Truck Series, and he was someone I always looked up to. So now to this day to be selected as a Rising Star is really special, and I'm really appreciative of the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame and John Farrow for putting this award together. And you know, it's been something that's been a journey for sure, and I'm really thankful for everyone who's helped me get to this point. I've obviously have a lot of support, or else I wouldn't be here today. So I've got to thank my parents, my whole family, really, my mom, my dad, my sister for putting endless hours into this racing journey, along with obviously all my crew, everyone who helps out on the cars and makes the cars as fast as they are for me, and then obviously the sponsors, people like AW Millwrights and Herb Transport, who have been with this technically name since before I was born, and then newer partners like APC Auto Parts Centers, who have played a huge role in my racing career and gotten me to where I am today. So without people like that, I definitely wouldn't be standing here right now. So I'm definitely appreciative of John Farrow for putting in some money with JMF Motorsports, and I'll be able to put it to good use in progressing my racing career down south. I've just signed a 3-year driver development deal with Red Jones Racing and plan to continue my super late model journey and hopefully move into ARCA and NASCAR trucks and beyond throughout the next couple of years. I've got to just really appreciate everyone who's gotten me here. I'm thankful for this, where I am today, and everyone who's helped me out. So appreciate the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, like I said, for putting on this award, and I wish I could be there tonight, but everyone have a fun night, and cheers.
Thank you. When I started JMF Motorsports, I had one goal in mind: to support young Canadian athletes, young Canadian drivers who have the necessary skills, but however, they do not have the funding to do it properly. I have been successful in life. I've been extremely successful in business. And my mentor, my father, who taught me everything about business and life, always said to us, when you've been blessed and you're successful, you have to give back to something that you truly love. And I truly love motorsports. So I took a leap of faith 4 years ago and started with one car. And this year we will be fielding 5 cars in SRO. Plus, it'll be our 2nd year of our JMF Motorsports karting team. I've put together a world-class team, great leaders, great executives who have taught me everything about racing because I was too busy working. And we're just about to jump into our 25 season. And it is really an honor and a privilege. And I had a great conversation with Kyle the other day. He's an outstanding young man, and everyone should be very, very proud of him. So in closing, I want to thank everybody. Peter, Todd, thank you. Have a wonderful evening, and watch us on YouTube.
Thank you, John. Thank you for your support of young racers to help them further their career. Let's welcome back Peter Lockhart, the chair of the Hall of Fame, for a couple of quick closing remarks.
Well, the clock is off, so I can go.
Free for all, right?
Right? Oh, you got the flag. Well, a few takeaways from this evening is that motorsport is one huge family, and we've welcomed some really successful people into the higher level of it by recognition. It's a wonderful thing that we are able to do at the Hall. It's joyful to see the response from inductees, their stories, brings back their whole career of friends and family and teammates, and it's just wonderful. So I'd really like to thank Todd for doing a fantastic job tonight.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me back again. Congratulations to the class of 2024 on your induction into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Thanks for giving so much of your spirit to our sport. Thank you for your excitement and joy that you brought to so many, and for helping to inspire the next generation. I get excited watching young people being drawn towards racing and motorsports. You can see it in their eyes. It's the same wonder, it's the same excitement and joy that I felt when I got sucked into this intoxicating life. Let's please all keep doing what we're doing to help nourish and encourage this, among others. Reminders, the silent auction bidding will continue. You will see the countdown clock outside. When the clock hits 0, the silent auction closes. So as you disperse, head to the bar for a little socializing. Please keep an eye on the clock and keep an eye on your bids. When the clock hits 0, the auction will close. As mentioned, the bar will remain open, but we remind you, if you are choosing to enjoy a drink, please do it responsibly. To our inductees, before you depart, please come back up to the stage for a group photo. We need a group photo of everyone, please. And thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight here to celebrate Canadian motorsports. Thank you so much for coming. Have a great rest of the evening.
We'll see you upstairs.